Chapter 81 The Most Crazy Person in the World of Immortal Cultivation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a while, Dong Huang also followed Yi Chen's example, resting his head with one hand on his head, holding a wine pot with the other hand, and lying on the deck with his legs crossed, and Yang Bubi turned into a boatman and steered the Fatian demon house. In Dong Huang's words, Xiaoyang, Beijiang is your territory, you can do whatever you want. Dong Huang, have you become a killing body after living a new life? Looking at Dong Huang from the side, Yi Chen asked curiously. Of course. He. Otherwise, why do you think I can reach the same level as you so quickly? It's a pity that the energy of the killing crystal is exhausted. Otherwise, my strength would be higher. As he spoke, Dong Huang's little face showed a disappointed expression. Just be content. Live a new life. Killing body. Isn't that enough? Shaking his head, Yi Chen said with a smile. Ha. It seems so, Dong Huang said after a pause. Speaking of which, the god of killing is half of our master, right? Yi Chen, when you ascend to the immortal world, will you recognize this master? Suddenly, Dong Huang asked curiously. Of course. After a pause, Yi Chen answered decisively, if it weren't for the origin body forging art, I'm afraid I would have died under the heavenly tribulation, right? The last heavenly tribulation was too terrifying. But, don't you have a master? Looking at Yi Chen, Dong Huang said with a strange expression. Who stipulated that there can only be one master? Glancing at Dong Huang, Yi Chen asked back. That makes sense. He. I also regard him as my master. If it weren't for the god of killing relics and the killing crystal, I don't know when I would have to wait to live again. What Yi Chen didn't know was that he was now famous again, not only in the East region. In the North frontier, it also caused a great sensation. Everything originated from a hunting order issued by the Northern Frontier Demon Clan. From now on, Yi Chen will be regarded as an enemy of the Demon Clan. All the Demon Clan members have the responsibility to hunt down Yi Chen. Moreover, they ordered Yi Chen to hand over their holy son Yang Bubi as soon as possible. In addition, he was required to hand over the great fortune he got from the Demon Clan's sacred mountain. He was also required to kneel down and apologize in front of all the forces in the entire northern frontier for letting their holy son be a servant, otherwise, the Demon Clan will fight him to the death. Now, whether in the eastern region or the northern frontier, countless practitioners are discussing this matter. Fuck. Isn't this Yi Chen too crazy? He got a great fortune by entering the Demon Clan's sacred mountain. And he let the Son of God be his servant. Hasn't this guy always been crazy? Compared with the things in the eastern region, this is nothing. Yi Chen is really talented. He actually dared to enter the Demon Clan's sacred mountain. TSK. I heard that there are death laws and the power of the avenue of death everywhere. That's what you say, but do you think that a person who has passed 10 heavenly tribulations is an ordinary person? Too strong. Not to mention offending the 10 major forces in the eastern region, he killed hundreds of thousands of masters in the god transformation stage and offended countless masters. He was hunted by the Soul Destruction Hall and now he offended the Demon Clan. He deserves to be the first madman in the world of cultivation. He has the capital. If it were a human being, he would have died without a burial place long ago, right? But Yi Chen, isn't he still alive and well now? I can only say that he is too tough. Eastern region, Dao sect, in front of Xuanjizi's thatched cottage, once again, Jun Wuxia came here and briefly told Xuanjizi about the latest situation in the outside world. This kid is really a troublemaker. He just went to the northern border and offended the demons again. Shaking his head, Xuanjizi said with a wry smile. Hearing his words, Jun Wuxia nodded in agreement. However, in his heart, he was really full of admiration for Yi Chen. Now, the outside world is rumored that Yi Chen is the #1 madman in the world of immortal cultivation. This is really well deserved. He offended so many forces and was hunted by so many forces and is still alive. The key is that he didn't bring any life-saving treasures with him, right? He is worthy of being Master Yi. He is much more evil than I was back then. Master Uncle, then should we express our attitude next? After hesitating for a while, Jun Wuxia asked tentatively. No need. Anyway, we have closed the mountain, I will not leave the east region, and the demons will not come to kill us. Waving his hands, a strange light flashed in Xuanjizi's cloudy old eyes. Xianxia, Xianxia. You are indeed a man who defies the heavens. You really don't take the ordinary path. Xuanjizi was filled with emotion. Yes. Jun Wuxia nodded after a pause. Wuxia, you are about to break through to the loose immortal stage, right? Get ready. Don't pay too much attention to Xiaoqinzi's affairs, he will definitely be fine. At least, he won't die easily. Looking up at Jun Wuxia, Xuanjizi said earnestly. Yes, Master Uncle. Nodding, Jun Wuxia said, in northern Xinjiang, a barbaric area, a tall and sturdy young man in black armor, covered in blood, like an iron tower, shuttled through a mountain range with a giant python on his shoulders. Uncle Master is such a monster, he muttered to himself, and the young man's honest face was filled with admiration. There is no doubt that this young man is none other than Lin Wudi, one of the 4 great immortal seedlings of the Tao sect. The reason why he said this was not without reason. Because, these days, he also heard some rumors about Yi Chen. Lin Wudi was so impressed by Yi Chen that he fell into admiration. It is worth mentioning that his cultivation is already at the late stage of the second heaven of the divine transformation stage. If Yi Chen were here, he would be very shocked. It is indeed a dominating body. How long has it been? Lin Wudi went from the golden core stage to the nascent soul stage to the divine transformation stage. Breaking through 2 major realms in a row. This breakthrough speed is really too fast. It seems that I have to become stronger quickly so that I can be qualified to join my great uncle. After that, Lin Wudi continued to move quickly towards the mountains. Similar scenes are still happening in some Jedi areas in the eastern region and northern Xinjiang. Without exception, these young men and women are all members of the Tao sect. Either they are the immortal seedlings of Tao Zone, or they are the geniuses of Tao Zone. Now Yi Chen has become their idol in their hearts. They all want to become stronger quickly. Want to meet up with Yi Chen. Uncle Master is the #1 madman in the world of cultivating immortals. Then it's not too much for them to become the second, third, fanatics, right? As for whether he will be hunted down by major forces, they all chose to ignore this. As members of the Tao sect, from the moment they joined the Tao sect, they were already mentally prepared to live and die with the Tao sect. Chapter 82. My temper isn't very good either. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As night fell, Feitian Mafang arrived at a fiery red mountain range. This mountain range was full of towering ancient trees like maple trees. Some bushes and grass around were also fiery red. Young Master Yi, if we go a few dozen miles further, we will reach the largest city in the eastern part of northern frontier. Fire City. It is one of the 10 major forces in northern frontier, a vassal city of Huiyan Mountain. This area is dominated by fire attribute practitioners. They all have bad tempers. Looking at Yi Chen, Yang Bubi spoke slowly and methodically. My temper is not very good either. Waving his hand, Yi Chen said lightly. Of course, he heard the hidden meaning of Yang Bubi. Is there no need to avoid conflicts with others? Yi Chen thought so too. However, if others want to provoke him, that's another matter. Opening his mouth, Yang Bubi didn't know what to say. It seems that this trip is destined to be unpeaceful. Yang Bubi sighed secretly in his heart. Xiao Yang. If you follow Yi Chen, remember the first secret. We don't cause trouble, nor will we be afraid of it. Do you understand? Looking up at Yang Bubi, Dong Huang exhorted him in a mature manner. Understood. Take a deep breath, Yang Bubi said expressionlessly. In his heart, he secretly smiled bitterly. These 2 lunatics. Is it possible that the demons are hunting him and others all over the world? Why not be low-key? Putting away the flying demon pavilion, Yi Chen flew and landed on a flat lawn in the mountains. Afterwards, Yi Chen casually threw out a first-level lighting formation. All of a sudden, the surroundings became brightly lit. Seeing this, Dong Huang did not react much. Yang Bubi, on the other hand, was a little stunned. Mr. Yi still brought such a useless formation. After a cultivator breaks through to the golden core stage, he can ignore the night, right? Hey! Do you two have any alchemy materials above level 6? I don't need spiritual plants. Looking at Dong Huang and then at Yang Bubi, Chen asked. Yes, he was going to start refining the 6th grade elixir. The 5th grade elixir? Normal, it corresponds to the nascent soul stage, but Chen felt that the 5th grade elixir might be useless to him. So, he chose to start refining the 6th grade elixir. He wanted to improve his strength as soon as possible. Even if he couldn't comprehend the great Tao of time, he had to ascend as soon as possible. He wanted to heal the 2 beauties in his small world as soon as possible. Otherwise, he was really uneasy. Of course. Take a look for yourself. After that, Dong Huang threw a space ring to Chen neatly. Before that, he deliberately erased his soul mark. Here. Similarly, Yang Bubi also threw a space ring to Chen. Compared to Dong Huang's indifference, Yang Bubi's eyes looking at Chen were very strange. Young Master, Yi can also make pills. That shouldn't be possible, right? Wait. Alchemy materials above level 6. Is he going to make a 6th grade pill? Thinking of this, Yang Bubi was dumbfounded, an 18-year-old 6th grade alchemist. Is he really that evil? Looking at the entire world of immortal cultivation, I'm afraid there won't be one, right? At this age, being a 3rd grade or 4th grade alchemist is already a genius, okay? However, when thinking of what happened to Chen, Yang Bubi was relieved again. Dong Huang was right, nothing happened to young Master Yi. It was not worth making a fuss. You can't look at young Master Yi with the eyes of ordinary people. Chen didn't know what Yang Bubi was thinking, and now he had started to get busy. A lot of things were poured out from the 2 space rings. After the selection, he returned the 2 space rings to the 2 people. Looking at the pile of materials in front of him, Chen fell into deep thought. What kind of elixir should I refine first? After thinking for a while, Chen took out his elixir furnace. Keeping his mind focused, Chen sacrificed his elixir fire. Instantly, Chen was stunned. Isn't his elixir fire purple? The highest level of human level elixir fire. But now, it turned into a small gray flame. Could it be? Subconsciously, Chen's consciousness sank into the purple vortex in the direction of his dantian. Sure enough, the small gray flame disappeared. It actually swallowed up his elixir fire and replaced it. Looking at the gray egg-sized flame in front of him, Chen was so depressed. What is this? Not far away, Dong Huang and Yang Bubi were stunned. Their eyes became extremely strange, and their facial expressions were also like they wanted to laugh but didn't dare to laugh. There was no way, mainly because the appearance of this flame was too exquisite. It looked even worse than ordinary flames, let alone elixir fire. At this moment, even Dong Huang couldn't help but have some doubts. Is Chen really a pill refiner or not? Would an alchemist not even have a decent pill fire? If you want to laugh, just laugh. How uncomfortable is it to hold it in? Glancing at the 2 of them, Chen said unhappily. TSK. Ha. I am dying of laughter. Chen, are you sure this is Danhua? Can this thing make alchemy? Are you going to make me die of laughter? Hearing Chen's words, the 2 laughed wildly without any image, especially Dong Huang. He rolled on the ground with laughter. Glancing at the 2 with a bad temper, Chen simply ignored them. Boom! An explosion sounded, and Dong Huang and the other 2 laughed even more exaggeratedly, because Chen's furnace exploded. This alchemy genius with extraordinary talent had his furnace exploded for the first time. Chen chose to ignore the reactions of the 2. Not only did Chen not feel any frustration, on the contrary, he showed a look of surprise on his face. He found that his inconspicuous gray flame was more than 100 times stronger than the previous human-level Danhua in terms of power and temperature. Too strong. With this flame, he would be able to make alchemy even more powerful in the future. Since there is no Dan furnace, then. Muttering to himself, Chen's eyes showed a crazy light. The next moment, the smiles on Dong Huang and Yang Bubi's faces froze. They all looked at Chen in doubt. Madman! At the same time, the 2 cursed and hid far away. I saw that the gray flame quickly turned into a small alchemy furnace under Chen's control. Flame alchemy furnace. Dong Huang and Yang Bubi looked at each other unconsciously, both of them were shocked. What is Chen going to do? Refining the elixir with bare hands? Isn't this a bit exaggerated? Can alchemy be done like this? Next, Chen's actions made the two silent, the two were petrified on the spot. It was really shocking. Chapter 83, Making Pills with Bare Hands. Are you really not afraid of exploding and dying? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dozens of different materials were suspended in order in front of Chen. I saw Chen holding a small gray flame alchemy furnace in his left hand and snapping his fingers with his right hand. A small gray flame split from the small flame furnace. In an instant, the split gray flame turned into a long flame and fell towards the material suspended in front of Chen. In the blink of an eye, all the materials were tempered and turned into balls of various colored liquids. Soon, several purple fruits suddenly appeared in front of Chen. Those fruits were also tempered in an instant. Eventually, dozens of colorful liquids gathered together and turned into a fist-sized ball of blood-colored liquid. At this time, the lid of the small flame elixir furnace in Chen's left hand opened, and the liquid fell into it. Soon, the lid was put back on. Chen's hands began to quickly form seals and slap the small flame elixir furnace. The whole set of movements is smooth and flowing. A stick of incense passed, and the alluring scent of medicine filled the surroundings. The gray flame pill furnace dispersed, and 10 crystal clear blood-colored pills fell into Chen's hands. Each one is covered with pill patterns. Hiss! Dong Huang and Yang Bubi couldn't help but take a breath of air conditioning. Refining elixirs with bare hands. Still successful. The most exaggerated thing is this still a 6th grade perfect elixir? 10 pieces in a furnace? It takes 1 stick of incense to refine a pot of elixir of this grade. Unbelievable. This is really outrageous. What a shame. Chen, this guy's alchemy talent is too perverted, isn't it? Refining the 6th grade elixir divine blood pill with bare hands. And he achieved it to the extreme. 10 pieces in 1 furnace. Everyone is perfect. What's even more outrageous is that he only used 1 stick of incense. Even if a 9th grade alchemist takes action, he still needs to achieve this level. 2 sticks of incense time. After coming back to his senses, Dong Huang said dumbfounded. The way he looked at Chen was as if he was seeing a monster. Isn't it true that only the legendary alchemy god can do this with bare hands? On the side, Yang Bubi also looked dumbfounded. Didn't you laugh at me just now? Looking at the two people, Chen asked with a smile. After hearing Chen's words, the corners of their mouths twitched fiercely. They felt that they were really hasty and laughed too early. Ahem. Mr. Yi, I admit that I laughed a little hastily just now. Looking at Chen, Yang Bubi smiled bitterly, laughing at a peerless alchemist who is not good at alchemy. Thinking of this problem, he wanted to find a crack to get in. It's so embarrassing. How did I know that you would be so defiant? Rolling his eyes, Dong Huang said confidently. At the same time, he was also a little confused. Why didn't Chen seem to be familiar with his elixir fire just now? What's going on? This divine blood pill. Do you need it? Shaking his head, Chen was too lazy to continue arguing with the two of them. He looked at the two of them and asked casually. Of course. This is good stuff. Why not? Hee. Divine blood pills are something that can only be encountered in the transformation stage, right? Nodding his head neatly, Dong Huang grinned. His eyes were full of blazing color. Similarly, Yang Bubi on the side was also full of enthusiasm. Divine blood pill. This is an elixir that can help masters in the transformation stage to temper their own flesh and blood and meridians. At the same time, it can also quickly improve the strength and cultivation speed of masters in the transformation stage. Because it contains huge energy, the higher the grade, the better the effect. Normally, the divine blood pill can only be taken during the transformation stage. The question is, can Dong Huang and Chen be viewed with normal eyes? Soon, the three began to divide the spoils. Dong Huang only wants 1. In his words, his strength is still low, and he is afraid of exploding to death if he takes too much. Yang Bubi asked for 2 pills. He felt that taking 2 pills was already his limit. Since you don't want it anymore, then this belongs to me. Looking at the remaining 7 pills in his hand, Chen said with a smile. After saying that, he threw it all into his mouth. Madman! Are you really not afraid of exploding to death? Seeing this, Donghuang couldn't help but cursed, and at the same time his eyes widened. Taking the divine blood pill during the nascent soul stage already requires a lot of courage. This guy is lucky enough to take 7 perfect level divine blood pills at once. Isn't he afraid of being exploded by the violent energy of the divine blood pill? Depend on, that even Yang Bubi, who had always been a man of few words, couldn't help but get rude. The two of them looked at Chen strangely. This guy is really no ordinary pervert. Directly swallowing 7 perfect level divine blood pills. Talent. Belch. After burping, Chen had a bright smile on his face. His eyes also showed a hint of surprise. It really works. The moment the divine blood pill was taken, it was immediately absorbed by his body in 2 small purple vortexes. Chen clearly felt that his strength had improved a little. There is only 1 step away from the middle stage of the first level of the nascent soul stage. He believed that with another 10 or 8 divine blood pills, he would definitely be able to break through. Thinking about it, Chen was secretly happy. I say, can you two stop being so surprised all day long? Giving them a cold look, Chen said unhappily, looking at each other. Donghuang and Yang Bubi both smiled bitterly. Suddenly, both of them didn't know what to say. Whenever they thought they knew Chen well enough, this guy always gave them a little surprise. They really wanted to ask, is Chen still a human? Is there anything he can't do? Does he have any shortcomings? I really don't know how strong your body and nascent soul are to dare to do this. Looking up at Chen, Donghuang shook his head and said, then. He sat aside and took out the god blood pill and took it. Compared with Chen's calmness, Donghuang was a bit tragic. He had just taken the god blood pill, and his body swelled up like a balloon. His little face also became unusually hideous. The whole person couldn't help but scream. After a long time, this guy finally returned to normal. An amazing aura burst out from him. Donghuang's cultivation also soared, the peak of the late 3rd level of the nascent soul stage. On the other hand, Yang Bubi, who was not far away, was calm after taking the divine blood pill, but from time to time, there was a crackling sound from his body, perhaps, because he was already in the spiritualization stage. Hee. Chen. My cultivation has finally surpassed you. Donghuang stood up after opening his eyes and looked at Chen with a proud face. He also showed an eager expression on his face. How about a fight? Chen grinned at Donghuang with a smile. Let's fight. That's what I mean. I don't believe in evil. I am 2 small realms higher than you, but I can't suppress you. Donghuang nodded heavily and said confidently. A strong fighting spirit also appeared on his face. Chapter 84. Say the most arrogant words and receive the most severe beating. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen, remember. The old ones are the wisest. I can't cure you even if I live my whole life again. Ha ha ha. I'm going to beat you. After that, Donghuang burst out with amazing fighting spirit. Then, he rushed directly towards Chen. Soon, Donghuang fully verified a saying, say the most arrogant words, and get the most vicious beating. Magic. Killing body. Various killing moves. These skills that Donghuang was proud of, Chen ignored them all, relying only on the body of thunder and the mystery of space. He caught Donghuang and beat him violently. Wherever Chen passed, there were flashes of lightning and scenes of space collapse. In a blink of an eye, Donghuang was beaten black and swollen. His clothes and long hair were also charred black. At the beginning, Donghuang still had the strength to fight back. In the end, he could only run away with his head in his hands. However, he was too proud to give in, and Chen would not tolerate him. The result was, in the mountains, Donghuang's screams resounded throughout the sky. Stop. I surrender. Is surrender not enough? Damn it. Chen. You really have the guts to do it. Covering his face that looked like a pig's head, Donghuang bared his teeth and started to curse. What's so hard to do? Weren't you quite arrogant just now? Chen said lightly with a pout. I think you seem to want to beat me up to prove your strength. Then, Chen said something else. You, Hearing Yi Chen's words, Dong Huang was so angry that his whole body trembled. However, his eyes were full of embarrassment and depression. To be honest, that's what he thought just now. What 10 heavenly tribulations? Always acting against the sky. Then if I beat Yi Chen down, wouldn't it prove that I am better than him? However, the result was a little different from what Dong Huang had imagined. He never dreamed that he would be crushed and beaten by Yi Chen. I don't bother to care about you. After saying that, Dong Huang flew to the side and was secretly sad. What a failure. He had to admit that his Tao heart was a little frustrated. Why is Yi Chen so strong? It must be said that Dong Huang's self-healing ability is still very good. He just sat down, and in a blink of an eye, his injuries had healed by themselves. Not far away, Yang Bubi, who had just taken 2 god blood pills and tempered himself, had doubled his strength. Seeing this scene, his eyes couldn't help but twitch wildly. Yang Bubi, in his heart, was also secretly grateful. Fortunately, he was a step late and did not challenge Master Yi. Otherwise, he would be the one who was beaten up, right? In the battle between the two just now, Yang Bubi felt a strong threat. What a 2 monsters. He cursed secretly in his heart. Why can the nascent soul stage be so strong? I am at the peak of the spiritualization stage, and I am ashamed of myself. Suddenly, Yang Bubi thought in his heart with a bit of depression. For more than 30 years, I have been living like a dog. My pride in the past was just a joke. A 30-year-old at the peak of the late 9th heaven of the spiritualization stage might be a first-class monster in the entire world of immortal cultivation, but, in front of these two, it's just like that. Their fighting power has overturned the rules of the world of immortal cultivation, who said that after the nascent soul stage, you can't challenge across levels. Whether it is Yi Chen or Dong Huang, they are not subject to this restriction at all. Yang Bubi, do you want to fight with me too? I see that your strength has improved a lot, and it seems that you have full confidence in yourself. At this time, Yi Chen suddenly looked at Yang Bubi and asked with a smile. Ahem. Mr. Yi is such a joker. I don't have that idea. Well, I'll digest the remaining energy of the god blood pill first. After hearing Yi Chen's words, Yang Bubi shook his head decisively and frantically. Then, he walked to Dong Huang and sat down not far away. Fight with Yi Chen? He didn't think so. Looking at the two of them with amusement, Yi Chen shook his head secretly. Then, he continued to refine pills. Basically, he wanted to refine all kinds of 6th grade pills, 7th grade pills. Yi Chen wanted to refine, but he couldn't get together a set of 7th grade pill materials. He was also very depressed. It is worth mentioning that after Yi Chen broke through to the nascent soul stage, the small world in his body also began a new round of expansion. The small world has expanded to an astonishing radius of more than 600 miles. Among them, the outermost 400 miles are already full of various spiritual plants from level 1 to level 7. Further in, some 8th level spiritual plant seedlings have grown. In the innermost part, some level 9 spiritual plant seeds have begun to sprout. The whole inner world is full of the power of the great Tao of life. The deeper you go, the denser it is. Yang Chu and Huang Yinhua are lying in the core area like sleeping beauties. It can be said without hesitation that just relying on these spiritual plants in the inner world, Yi Chen's financial resources are enough to rival some holy places. Xiaoqi, the prodigal little guy, is always happy to look at the various spiritual plants in Yi Chen's inner world. After eating, he would lie down under the branches of spiritual plants or on the petals and fall asleep, or, he would just lie quietly beside Yang Chu and Huang Yinhua. Xiaoyang. You are so unkind. I can see that you are not very convinced of Yi Chen. Why don't you take the initiative to fight him? Looking at Yang Bubi beside him, Dong Huang said with a depressed face. But I think I am not Mr. Ye's opponent. Spreading his hands, Yang Bubi said innocently. Damn! Dong Huang cursed and rolled his eyes, miscalculated. If I had known, I would have waited for this guy to start first. While the two talked, they looked at Yi Chen unconsciously. Gradually, Dong Huang and Yang Bubi had become numb and were no longer surprised. Alchemy with bare hands. 100% success rate. A furnace of perfect 6th grade elixir in 1 stick of incense. Yi Chen is like a ruthless alchemy machine. Unconsciously, Several hours passed, and bottles of elixir were already placed in front of Chen. At this time, the sky was already bright. Finally done. It seems that I have to buy some materials for 7th grade elixir next. Stretching, Chen said to himself, hearing Chen's words. Dong Huang and Yang Bubi were completely out of temper. Chen actually wanted to refine 7th grade elixir. What is the limit of this guy? Ordinary alchemists, if they want to refine 6th grade elixir, they need at least the strength of the Mahayana period, right? In other words, 6th grade alchemists are basically masters of the Mahayana period, which 7th grade alchemist is not a strong person in the tribulation period. Moreover, alchemists above the 7th grade are already very rare. It is not an exaggeration to say that they are rare. But Chen is only in the nascent soul stage, okay? Being able to refine a 6th grade elixir is already very exaggerated and amazing. He wants to refine a 7th grade elixir. Is this a mistake? Is this guy really that amazing? Chapter 85 The Prodigal Son. Fire City. 2 Madmen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, take a quick look. Are there any elixirs you need? Chen didn't care what the two of them thought, he looked at them and asked. Of course. Chen, you are really loyal. I saw the right person right. After hearing Chen's words, Dong Huang smiled happily. In an instant, he came to Chen. Thank you Mr. Yi. After being stunned for a moment, Yang Bubi's eyes couldn't help but light up, and he flew up to Chen. At the same time, Yang Bubi couldn't help but have an idea in his mind. It seems that it would be good to hang out with Mr. Yi. As the holy son of the demon clan, he has no shortage of various training resources. However, the shortcomings of their demon clan are refining alchemy and weapon refining. How could the pills he usually took be of such high quality? And, it's still so easy to get. Even though he is the holy son of the demon clan, if he wants to obtain the 6th grade elixir, he still needs to contribute to the demon clan. In the blink of an eye, there were only 10 bottles left in the pile of pills in front of Chen. Dong Huang and Yang Bubi each took several bottles. In contrast, the two people's reactions were completely different. Dong Huang had a cheerful expression, but Yang Bubi looked a little embarrassed. Seeing the two people's reactions, Chen couldn't help but laugh. Dong Huang and Yang Bubi, who were still smiling at first, immediately froze the smiles on their faces. The next moment, I saw Chen holding a bottle of pills and throwing them into his mouth one after another, like eating jelly beans. Seeing this, both of their mouths twitched violently. The forehead is also full of black lines. Prodigal. It's such a waste. But when they thought about it, they were relieved. With Chen's level of alchemy, doesn't this guy have as many elixirs as he wants? What a loser. Shaking his head, Dong Huang murmured in a low voice. After hearing his words, Yang Bubi nodded in agreement. Eating 6th grade elixirs like jelly beans can no longer be said to be a waste of money. This is simply a super invincible loser, okay? In addition, if anyone else in the nascent soul stage dared to do this, he would probably explode and die, right? Not to mention the nascent soul stage, many people in the transformation stage don't dare to do this. This kind of elixir contains very powerful energy. Let's go. After saying that, Chen took the lead and flashed away in the direction of Fire City. Chen had no intention of explaining the two people's opinions. Prodigal. His amazing body and 2 small purple whirlpools were simply a bottomless pit. To break through, the energy required is amazing. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is hundreds or thousands of times that of the same level. Perhaps even more. What's wrong with taking some pills? Anyway, I am not short of this elixir. Chen had already secretly made a decision in his heart. After arriving at Fire City, he purchased various 7th grade elixir materials. He wants to refine some 7th grade elixirs. He wants to break through quickly. Not long after, Chen and his party arrived at the gate of Fire City. It is indeed a world of fire attribute cultivators. Chen sighed secretly in his heart. The huge city that stretches hundreds or thousands of miles like an ancient behemoth is actually all fiery red. In fact, there were bursts of hot temperature all around. The law of fire. Without any further pause, the three of them walked directly into the city. Inside the Fire City, there was a bustle of people everywhere. Among them, cultivators below the transformation stage account for the vast majority. Occasionally, you can also find some Mahayana masters. As for the powerful people above the tribulation stage, there is no one to be seen. It is also because of this that the appearance of Chen and the others is not eye-catching, one peak of divine transformation and two nascent soul stages. What's more, both Chen and Donghuang used secret methods to hide their cultivation. It's interesting, suddenly, a playful smile appeared on Chen's lips. He discovered that the three of him were actually being targeted. And, not 1.5 people, but several groups of people, Donghuang and Yang Bubi could not help but narrow their eyes. Apparently, they found out too. Chen, do you think these guys are from the eastern region, or from the demon clan? Or from the soul-destroying palace? Lowering his voice, Donghuang asked in a low voice. It's not a demon. If it's a demon, I can sense it with the power of my blood. Before Chen spoke, Yang Bubi shook his head and said something. Why do you care so much? When the soldiers come, just cover up the water and earth. If we can beat him, we'll fight. If we can't, we'll run away. After waving his hand, Chen said calmly. That makes sense. Nodding, Donghuang grinned. On the side, Yang Bubi opened his mouth but said nothing. There was a feeling of helplessness in his heart. These two guys are really crazy. Asking himself, Yang Bubi thought that he had been quite crazy before, but compared to the two in front of him, he is still a little ashamed. Why don't you keep a low profile on someone else's territory? There is no one left. Finally found you. You brat, you better run away. A cold voice sounded, and suddenly the group of people fell in front of Chen and the others. The leader was a bald man wearing a bloody robe. There are two simple large characters tattooed on the left chest of the other party's robe, destroy the soul. This is a powerful person in the middle stage of the third heaven of the Mahayana period. Behind him were 8 masters of the God transformation stage. Seeing this scene, everyone around them immediately stayed away. Many good people pointed at Chen and the others from a distance. Hiss. Who are these 3 guys? Did they actually offend the soul-destroying palace? Who knows? However, if you offend the soul-destroying palace, you will really die. Yes. No one can escape the people the soul-destroying palace wants to kill. You can't say that. Didn't someone make an exception? You mean, the #1 madman in the world of immortality? Chen. Shoo. You don't want to live anymore. Are you talking about this? Huh. Wait, that young man in white who looks gentle and harmless, could it be Chen? He is also carrying a huge black bladeless sword. Listening to what you said, it doesn't seem impossible. Run. You are just a bunch of idiots. Do you need to run away? After glancing at the 9 people, Chen said lazily, with an undisguised look of disdain on his face, this is Chen's character. He has always been polite to ordinary people, but for the enemy, there is no need to be polite. In an instant, the surroundings smelled like pin drops. This was the first time they had seen someone who looked down upon the soul-destroying palace like this. He is worthy of being the #1 madman in the world of immortality. Many people murmured in their hearts. That's right. You bastard from the soul-destroying hall, are you trying to laugh me to death? Beside Chen, Donghuang also started shouting. On the side, Yang Bubi had a wry smile on his face. Chapter 86 3 Extremely Ruthless Men. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 2 crazy guys. Yang Bubi said secretly in his heart, although he thought about it, he still walked to the front of the 2 step by step. Mr. Yi, leave this bald guy to me. After taking a deep breath, Yang Bubi said with a face full of fighting spirit, since he followed Chen, he also got a lot of benefits. If he didn't do something, he really couldn't save face. Besides, he also wanted to test how far his ultimate combat power had reached. Leave the rest to me. After saying that, Donghuang also stepped forward. His eyes were full of greed, his eyes were full of murderous intent. My killing body is about to advance again. Donghuang was secretly delighted in his heart. It's up to you. Shrugging his shoulders, Chen said indifferently. After saying that, he took out a wine pot. It was obvious that this guy really didn't intend to take action. Seeing the reactions of the 3 people and hearing their conversation as if no one was around, the 9 people from the soul-destroying hall had faces that were darker than each other. The surroundings became so dark that you could smell a pin drop. They are really 3 lunatics. They secretly sighed in their hearts. Demon boy, are you also going to be an enemy of our soul-destroying hall? That the bald man looked at Yang Bubi and asked with narrowed eyes. However, what answered him was the raging sword light. Yang Bubi made a clean move. The same was true for Dong Huang on the side. In the blink of an eye, the 11 people fought in a group. From beginning to end, Chen watched quietly. He looked like an outsider. As soon as Dong Huang made a move, a bloody light appeared in the sky, covering the 8 soul-destroying hall masters of the god-transforming stage. His figure quickly disappeared from the original place. His afterimage was all over the sky. The 8 masters of the god-transforming stage did not even have a chance to react, and they turned into mummies one after another and fell to the ground. One-sided massacre. In just a few breaths, Dong Huang returned to Chen's side. He held 8 space rings in his hands. In addition, a large number of weapons fell in front of him. Seeing this, all the onlookers were dumbfounded. This kid is too strong, isn't he? He fought 1 against 8 and killed 8 masters of the spiritualization stage in a blink of an eye. Is he still a human? They are really weak, and these guys are too useless, aren't they? This way, my killing body has not advanced. That while counting the spoils, Dong Huang frowned and complained. Hearing Dong Huang's words, Chen was speechless and amused. This guy is really a talent. What is it called, taking advantage of others? This is it. But fortunately, the harvest is good. Finally, Dong Huang showed a satisfied smile on his little face. Dong Huang, those people are going to run away. Don't you plan to treat them well? Suddenly, Chen said lazily. His sight fell on several directions around. I saw that several groups of people were slowly evacuating. They were none other than the people who had targeted Chen and the other 2 before. Hee. That's what I meant. After collecting the spoils, Dong Huang grinned. In an instant, his figure disappeared from the spot again. Shaking his head, Chen's eyes fell to a place not far away. Now, Yang Bubi had been beaten back by the bald man. He was covered in blood and had sword wounds all over his body. The bald man was obviously treating Yang Bubi like a cat playing with a mouse. Even though Yang Bubi was very evil, he was not the opponent of the bald man after all due to the gap in realm. Chen could see that Yang Bubi's ultimate combat power could only compete with ordinary Mahayana first-level early-stage strongmen at best. This was already very evil. You know, in the world of cultivating immortals, it is very difficult to challenge those above the nascent soul stage, especially when crossing a great realm. Damn it, seeing that his men all died in Dong Huang's hands in a short while, the bald man's face became extremely ferocious. His eyes were also full of murderous intent. In that case, demon boy, you go to hell. After saying that, a shocking sword light fell from the sky, piercing the sky and flying towards Yang Bubi. In the air around them, a sky full of sword light also appeared, covering the 2. It can be seen that the bald man of the soul-destroying hall has already had the intention to kill, and no longer playing with Yang Bubi. Stop it, said lightly. Chen took action. I saw that he slapped out a palm lightly, and the sword light in the sky disappeared instantly. The space around the bald man collapsed directly, and he also fell into the turbulent space. The next moment, Chen flicked his right index finger lightly, and a thumb-sized purple lightning flew towards the bald man. Without even a chance to react, a red dot appeared between the bald man's eyebrows, and then he turned into a corpse and fell to the ground. In the blink of an eye, everything returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. Thank you, Mr. Yi. Flying in front of Chen, Yang Bubi said with gratitude and shame. After that, he handed the bald man's weapon and space ring to Chen. At the same time, his heart was also filled with shock. The main reason is that Chen's strength is too strong. It is not proportional to his realm at all. He is only at the early stage of the first level of the nascent soul stage, but he can easily kill even the Mahayana stage masters. Too strong. The people around him were petrified on the spot. They all felt that their brains were not enough. Today, they were really eye-opening. A little kid unilaterally slaughtered 8 masters of the god transformation stage. A young boy who looked harmless killed a Mahayana stage strongman in seconds. On weekdays, these powerful masters of the soul destruction hall were so vulnerable in front of them? But the demon monster looked so dim in front of the two, even if he was at the peak of the god transformation stage, fighting against the Mahayana stage was a very heaven-defying feat under normal circumstances, but, there is no harm without comparison, right? After a while, screams and begging for mercy brought everyone's thoughts back to reality, because Dong Huang, this guy, started a unilateral massacre again. Those groups of people who had originally targeted them had been chased by Dong Huang to the point where they had no way to go to heaven or enter the earth, the magical power that looked scary and spectacular. Rare magic weapon. Powerful weapon. In front of Dong Huang, it was so vulnerable. After an incense stick of time, Dong Huang came back with a smile on his face. He held a lot of trophies in his hands. Let's go. After saying that, Chen put away the wine pot and walked deep into the city. Yes. Wait for me. The three of them walked forward slowly. Along the way, countless people took the initiative to avoid them. They knew very well that they couldn't afford to offend these three peerless ruthless people who killed people without blinking an eye. Chapter 87, Crazy Shopping at Treasure Pavilion. Supreme VIP Card. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It didn't take long for the three of them to arrive at a magnificent building complex deep in Fire City, Treasure Pavilion. As one of the top chambers of commerce in the world of immortal cultivation, their branches can be said to be spread all over every corner of the world of immortal cultivation. However, they have never participated in any feuds in the world of immortal cultivation. They are specialized in business. They claim to sell everything. It is precisely because of this that Chen came here, because he needs to purchase some materials for the 7th grade elixir. Young Master Yi, please come in. Chen had just stepped into the treasure pavilion, and at the first moment, a fat middle-aged man with elegant clothes and a smile on his face came out to greet him. My surname is Chen, and my name is Duo. I am the owner of the Fire City branch of the treasure pavilion. Young Master Yi can call me Lao Chen or Chen Duo. Looking at Chen, the fat middle-aged man introduced himself. I mean Lao Chen. Do you know me? After taking a look at Chen Duo, Chen couldn't help but narrow his eyes. He was also secretly surprised in his heart. This guy, I wonder if he has a treasure or uses some secret method. He actually hid his cultivation. Interesting. Of course, Mr. Yi is now a well-known figure in the entire cultivation world. How could I not know him? What's more, Mr. Yi just caused a sensation in Fire City not long ago, didn't he? After a pause, Chen Duo replied with a smile. In this case, aren't you worried that you will offend the soul-destroying hall? Suddenly, Chen became interested. Looking at Chen Duo, he asked curiously. We in the treasure pavilion never cause trouble, and we are never afraid of trouble. Your grievances will be resolved outside. If the soul-destroying hall dares to find trouble here, we are not vegetarians. As he spoke, Chen Duo showed a proud expression on his face. Slightly startled, Chen nodded, and said nothing else. He had to admit that he liked to hear Chen Duo's words. Old Chen, do you know who I am and who he is? At this moment, Dong Huang suddenly asked. While asking, he pointed at himself and Yang Bubi. If I am not mistaken, you must be the mysterious boy who caused a great disturbance in the East region. As for this one, it is Yang Bubi, one of the saints of the demon clan. After thinking for a while, old Chen said slowly. Yes. My name is Dong Huang. After saying that, Dong Huang became quiet and looked around. Dong Huang. Looking at Dong Huang's figure, old Chen showed a thoughtful expression on his face. Soon, he put his thoughts behind him and led the three of them to wander around the treasure pavilion. Along the way, Chen purchased all kinds of things he needed without stopping. He threw out handfuls of spirit stones at will. Even Chen Duo, who was well informed, was a little confused by Chen's generosity. Isn't this Dao Zong a bit too arrogant? In less than half an hour, he has purchased more than 1 billion low-grade spirit stones. He has no intention of stopping yet. What makes Chen Duo feel even more incredible is the things Chen purchased. It seems that they are all related to the 7th grade elixir. He is really curious. Could it be that this gentleman knows a 7th grade alchemist? As for whether Yi Chen is a 7th-grade alchemist, Xianxia has never thought about this question. How can a peerless evildoer be an alchemist? Besides, looking at the entire cultivation world, there can't be a 5th-grade alchemist under the age of 30, right? There are even a handful of 4th-grade alchemists. So, he really doesn't think Yi Chen is an alchemist. It has to be said that Yi Chen is Yi Chen. After an hour, this guy spent billions of low-grade spirit stones in his hand. In return, there are now mountains of various 7th-grade elixir materials in his small world. In fact, he also wanted to purchase some materials of the 8th grade or even higher grade. However, Xianxia made it clear that there were none here. Even in their main pavilion, there would not be too many materials above the 8th grade. Materials of this level are really hard to find. Although Yi Chen felt a little regretful about this, he did not say much. In this case, he would look for it himself later. Yi Chen sighed secretly in his heart. Similarly, Dong Huang and Yang Bubi did not mean to be idle. They also spent a lot of spiritual stones. The difference is that the things these two guys bought were basically all kinds of life-saving treasures. After the purchase, the three left the treasure pavilion. Along the way, Xianxia smiled flatteringly. What is a big customer? This is it. If necessary, he would even kowtow to the three people, because the consumption of Yi Chen and the other two people has caught up with the performance of the Fire City branch of the Treasure Pavilion for several months. Even, it is almost catching up with the performance of a whole year. Such a big customer is rare. It was also because of this that Xianxia gave the only VIP card he had to Yi Chen. He believed that the general office would remember him as a great merit. Yi Chen was a wealthy man. Xianxia even had some doubts. Would Dao's sect give half of its resources to Yi Chen? Spending billions of spirit stones without blinking an eye. He had never seen such a wealthy person. Those so-called saints, and immortal seedlings were simply weak in front of this person. Look. Once they spent, they were comparable to most of the resources of an ordinary second-rate sect. How many people can do this? In the future, when you see these three gentlemen, be respectful and polite. Looking at the backs of the three people leaving, Xianxia ordered. Yes, Pavilion Master. After leaving the Treasure Pavilion, Yi Chen and the other two swaggered around. Will the soul-destroying hall and those forces come to take revenge? None of the three people considered this question. Yi Chen and Dong Huang's idea was very simple, that is, if they can beat them, they will fight, and if they can't, they will run away. But Yang Bubi had no choice, who made him Yi Chen's servant. I say, can you two be more promising? Why buy so many life-saving things? Glancing at the two, Yi Chen said unhappily. I'm not afraid of death, I'm cherishing my life, understand? Dong Huang said seriously after rolling his eyes at Yi Chen. I still want to serve Master Yi. I don't want to die too early. Yang Bubi smiled awkwardly and said seriously. Xiao Yang. You've made progress. You're so thick-skinned now that even I'm ashamed of myself. Glancing at Yang Bubi, Dong Huang said in amazement, besides being speechless, what else can Yi Chen say? Chapter 88, A Symbol of Status. The dragon crosses the river. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not long after, the three of them came to an inn called Baohua. They found a window seat in the restaurant on the first floor, ordered some food and sat down. The restaurant, which was originally very noisy, suddenly became so noisy with the arrival of the three people. Many people looked at the three people intentionally or unintentionally. In this regard, Yi Chen and the other two chose to turn a blind eye. What is the use of the supreme VIP card that Lao Qian gave me just now? Yi Chen asked casually while opening a wine jar. Hearing his words, both Dong Huang and Yang Bubi looked at him with strange eyes. As for the others, they were dumbfounded. Lao Qian. Supreme VIP card? Could this guy have got the Supreme VIP card of the Treasure Pavilion? Thinking of this possibility, the faces of the diners around were very exciting. Mr. Yi, you really don't know. Yang Bubi finally managed to say this. I don't know. Shaking his head, Yi Chen answered honestly. Treasure Pavilion? He knows. But he doesn't know much about this force. The Supreme VIP card of Treasure Pavilion is very limited. It is rumored that there are no more than 50 cards in the entire cultivation world. As long as you have a Supreme VIP card, you can enjoy a 30% discount when you spend at any branch of Treasure Pavilion. In addition, when necessary, you can also seek refuge from Treasure Pavilion. They will unconditionally protect the cardholder. Of course, they only provide refuge and will not intervene in the grievances of cardholders. It can be said without hesitation that they will only issue Supreme VIP cards to their most important customers. Take a deep breath, Yang Bubi said slowly. Hearing his words, Chen couldn't help but show a look of sudden enlightenment on his face. So that's it. Then this card is not bad. Playing with the crystal card in his hand, Chen grinned. More than good. This is like having an extra life, okay? If I had known this, I would have helped you buy those things. Looking at Chen, Dong Huang said with envy and hatred. Seeing the purple crystal card in Chen's hand, the surroundings were instantly boiling. This is the first time they have seen the Supreme VIP card of the Treasure Pavilion. Their faces were full of envy and shock. Many people looked at Chen with strange eyes. The first madman in the world of immortal cultivation got the Supreme VIP card of the Treasure Pavilion. God knows what interesting things will happen in the future. Are you sure you can get this card if you spend more? After taking a sip of wine, Chen said with a smile. Hearing Chen's words, Dong Huang was silent. If it were that simple, I'm afraid countless forces would spend crazily, right? The Supreme VIP card of the Treasure Pavilion is a symbol of status in itself. There are also real benefits. Who doesn't want to have one? However, it is said that the target of issuing the Supreme VIP card of the Treasure Pavilion is extremely demanding. Being rich and powerful is just the most basic requirement. Unlimited potential. Amazing talent. These are all standard, and, in other words, the Treasure Pavilion is actually speculating in disguise. Before a top figure rises, give him a Supreme VIP card, in exchange for the other party's friendship. Damn it, when will I get a Supreme VIP card of the Treasure Pavilion? After taking a sip of wine, Dong Huang said seriously. Looking at Dong Huang with amusement, Chen didn't say anything. He felt that Dong Huang was indeed qualified. Not only Chen thought so, Yang Bubi also thought so, and the diners around him also thought so. A demon who can survive 9 heavenly tribulations is indeed qualified. This guy didn't get the Supreme VIP card of the Treasure Pavilion, probably because Chen Duo only had one. It is rumored that in the East region, North Frontier, South Wilderness, West Land and Central Continent of the Xianxia world, the Treasure Pavilion only has 4 VIP card quotas for each major region. The remaining quotas are in the hands of the senior executives of their main pavilion. Just as Chen and the other two were toasting, a group of people suddenly walked into the inn, a group of people in red. Their strengths are also uneven. The strongest one is in the Mahayana stage, the weakest one is only in the nascent soul stage. Young Master Yi, please go to the city lord's mansion with us. The leader, a thin middle-aged man, looked at Chen politely and said. His men were all nervous. In an instant, Chen reacted. It turns out that they are people from the city lord's mansion of Fire City. Interesting. Could it be that they came for the previous incident? Chen couldn't help but secretly guess in his heart. What's the matter? Looking up at the thin middle-aged man, Chen asked calmly. Hearing Chen's words, everyone's mouth corners twitched fiercely. This guy, isn't he asking even though he knows the answer? The soul-destroying hull and several major forces in the eastern region have put pressure on our Fire City. So, with an awkward smile, the thin middle-aged man gave a simple explanation. So, you want to capture the 3 of us alive and hand them over to them? Putting down the wine jar in his hand, Chen asked with a calm expression. There was a chill in his eyes. No. Master Yi, please don't misunderstand me. We just want you to go through the motions. This way, we in Fire City don't have to worry about too many major forces. Shaking his head hurriedly, the lean middle-aged man explained. After hearing his words, Chen's expression softened a bit. That's pretty much it. As for whether it is true or false, he doesn't care. When the soldiers come, just cover up the water and earth. According to what Yang Bubi said, the strongest people in Hua City are just masters in the tribulation stage. What's there to worry about? This was what Chen was thinking in his heart. Let's go. Standing up, leaving behind a pile of spirit stones, Chen said lazily. Thank you, Mr. Yi. Seeing this, the lean middle-aged man couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Dong Huang and Yang Bubi looked at each other and stood up directly. The two of them have always taken Yi Chen as their leader. Now that this guy has made up his mind, what else could they say? Especially Dong Huang, his eyes are full of excitement. It was obvious that he was eager to cause some trouble in the Fire City Lord's mansion. As the group left, the entire inn was in an uproar. When had the always strong Lord of Fire City been so humble? Today, their eyes were opened. They say that a strong dragon cannot overwhelm a local snake. Yi Chen and the others, this is not like the raptors can't cross the river. Even Huiqing is unwilling to offend these three ruthless characters. Chapter 89 Trap. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It didn't take long for Yi Chen and his party to arrive at the Lord's Mansion of Fire City. Compared to the previous Evil Spirit City Lord's Mansion, this place is more than 10 times more glorious and imposing. The guards here alone are all at the nascent soul stage. It is indeed the largest city in the eastern part of northern Xinjiang. Seeing this, Yi Chen secretly sighed in his heart. Master Yi, Master Dong Huang, and Master Yang, please wait a moment. After walking into the city lord's palace and arriving at a luxuriously decorated hall, the lean middle-aged man looked at the three of them apologetically and said, "No problem." Shrugging, Yi Chen had an indifferent expression on his face. After that, he sat lazily on a gentleman's chair. Seeing this, Dong Huang and Yang Bubi also sat down one after another. The three of them had indifferent expressions on their faces, as if they were at home. Seeing this scene, the corners of the lean middle-aged man's mouth couldn't help but twitch. After looking at the three of them again, he turned and left. A group of his men stood guard outside the living room. Yi Chen, do you think there's something wrong with this? Looking sideways at Yi Chen, Dong Huang asked seriously. Whatever. When the soldiers come, just cover up the water and earth. Shaking his head, Yi Chen said indifferently. That makes sense. After being stunned for a moment, Dong Huang nodded in agreement. Hearing what the two of them said, Yang Bubi smiled bitterly. These two lunatics. Knowing clearly that there are tigers in the mountains, why go to the Tiger Mountains? There is no one left. In fact, Yang Bubi also noticed something was wrong. Logically speaking, the Fire City Lord's mansion really did let the three of them go through the motions just as the lean middle-aged man said. I'm afraid their senior management has already shown up, right? But in reality, which song should the three of them stay here to sing? I'm afraid this is uneasy and good-hearted. Interesting. Suddenly, Yi Chen showed a playful expression on his face. Really? Dong Huang echoed after glancing thoughtfully outside the living room. Similarly, Yang Bubi also frowned and looked outside the living room. The next moment, a formation talisman fell from the sky. A formation shrouded Dujia, shining with dazzling fire-colored light. At this time, a group of people walked over slowly. Walking at the front was a pockmarked little old man in a fire-colored robe who was in the early stage of transcending the first heaven. Even the other party's hair and beard are fiery red. The person following him was none other than the thin middle-aged man who had invited Yi Chen and others back just now. Master, you have a good idea. I didn't expect that we could capture the #1 madman in the world of immortality alive so easily, as well as the little boy who was so powerful in the eastern region. This time, it seems it will be difficult for us not to make a fortune. We will definitely get a lot of benefits by handing Yi Chen over to the soul-destroying palace, sending the little boy to the eastern region, and returning the holy son of the demon clan back to the demon clan. The little old man glanced sideways at the lean middle-aged man next to him and smiled proudly. His face and eyes were full of greed. That's also because the city lord has a powerful 6th-level top formation, so we can trap them so easily. It's all thanks to the city lord. After hearing what the little old man said, the lean middle-aged man said with a flattering expression. In the living room, Yi Chen suddenly smiled when he heard the two singing together. Likewise, Dong Huang also smiled. A long time ago, the 6th-level formation had no way to deal with Yi Chen. Are these two idiots daydreaming? Do you think this broken formation can trap Yi Chen, a formation genius? Even the 9th-level formation can't stop this guy, okay? Furthermore, do they really think this formation can isolate sound? Are they saying this so brazenly? What the two little old men didn't notice was that Chen just flicked his fingers, and the formation underwent unknown changes. Chen and the three of them heard all the conversation between the two of them, seeing the smiles of the two people. Young Booby, who was a little nervous at first, suddenly felt calm. At the same time, he couldn't help but curse himself secretly. Why are you so unsure of Mr. Yi? Before, didn't the elders of the demon clan who were in the half-step immortal stage have no way to deal with young Master Yi? Let him run away. What's more, it's just a formation. Master Yi, listen up. My name is Huolai, the Lord of Fire City. Next, if you cooperate well, you can avoid some physical pain. On the contrary, don't blame me for being rude. Looking at Chen, the little old man fiddled with the formation talisman in his hand, and then said with a serious face, his tone was full of doubt and threat. Young Master Yi, young Master Dong Huang, I also advise you to cooperate with the Lord of the City. After Huolai finished speaking, the lean middle-aged man next to him also started to lobby, a very sincere expression. Oh. How do you want me to cooperate? After sizing up the two of them, Chen asked with a half-smile. Tell me. I want to know too. On the side, Dong Huang also asked carelessly. I hope you two will take this elixir and seal your cultivation. After saying that, Huolai threw a bottle of elixir into the formation. Throw it in front of Chen. Huolai, I really look down on you. How dare you, the lord of a top city, be so cowardly? As a master of the crossing tribulation stage, is it necessary for you to go to such great lengths to deal with us? Looking at Huolai with disdain, Dong Huang sneered mercilessly. I can't help it, because Mr. Yi is so famous. Spreading his hands, Huolai said confidently. When he said this, a deep fear appeared in his eyes. Chen is a ruthless person who can even kill a peerless strongman in the Xianxia stage. He can't help but be careful. He doesn't want to capsize in the gutter. Besides, I heard that Chen is a master of formations. At that time, he could even use the formation of the god of death ruins. Who knows if he can break this formation? It's better to take it easy. This is what Huolai thinks in his heart. Where's the pill? I won't eat it. Also, I'll give you two choices. Do you want to die? Or do you want to live? Looking at Huolai, Chen said expressionlessly. He casually threw the pill in his hand onto the energy shield of the formation. Instantly, the bottle of pill turned into powder. After hearing Chen's words and seeing his actions, Hua Cheng's face suddenly became very ugly. Chen, do you want to drink the wine instead of the toast? With a cold snort, Huolai asked angrily. Or do you think I really can't do anything to you? Then he said another sentence. Both. Grinning, Chen slowly stood up. A cold light also appeared in his eyes. Huolai. Hua Cheng. Ha! Destroy them all. Chapter 90. Destroy it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Chen's actions and hearing his words, Huolai frowned immediately. He really wanted to know where Chen's confidence came from. A top-level 6th-level formation, plus himself as a master of the crossing tribulation stage, can't he do anything to him? Chen's previous performance was so amazing, but it was just with the help of the power of the heavenly tribulation. He killed those top-level Xianxia stage masters by using the formation of the god of death ruins. None of these were used by Chen here. Huolai, you insisted on provoking me, take it. After saying that, Chen grinned. Chen waved his right hand lightly, and in an instant, countless space cracks appeared around the formation outside the formation. Then, there were more space turbulences. An incredible scene happened. The buildings of the Fire City Lord's mansion began to collapse one after another, and were involved in those space turbulences. Many of Huolai's men were also involved. Seeing this scene, Dong Huang and Yang Bubi looked at each other in surprise. Both of them swallowed their saliva subconsciously. Cruel. It was really too cruel. Huolai had really been unlucky for provoking this guy. Tsk. Asshole. Stop it. Looking at Chen, Huolai roared with bloodshot eyes. This is his old nest. It is also his face. At the same time, it is also his life's work. The city lord's mansion was destroyed like this. Such an ending was really hard for Huolai to accept. Please beg me. Sitting back on the armchair covered with soft monster fur, Chen said with a smile. Mr. Yi, I was wrong. We can talk it over. Taking a deep breath, resisting the urge to run away, Lai squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying. At the same time, he was also shocked. How could it be possible? How did Chen do it? Why can this guy use the power of space? Is this the secret of space? Or what? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Lai would never believe it. You know, the power of space is one of the most mysterious powers in the world. It is rumored that no one in the world of immortal cultivation has been able to comprehend it from ancient times to the present, but now. What's the situation? Let's talk it over. Then what have you been doing? Chen said with a smile, looking at Lai calmly. Suddenly, Lai was silent. He was also full of regrets in his heart. If he had known this, he would not have provoked this hateful guy in front of him. Now, it's like stealing a chicken and losing a rice. What made Lai even more angry was that Chen had no intention of stopping. The remaining buildings of the city lord's mansion were successively involved in the space turbulence. There were also some people who didn't have time to escape. Chen, you must fight to the death, right? Lai roared loudly, looking at Chen coldly. At this moment, he was like an enraged lion, his face extremely ferocious. Yes, nodding gently, Chen grinned. The smile on his face became more and more brilliant. You, hearing Chen's answer, Lai almost vomited blood in anger. If that's the case, don't blame me for being rude. Snorting coldly, Lai looked at the array talisman in his hand with hatred. To be on the safe side, in order to prevent Chen and the other two from escaping, he wanted to detonate the entire array. Use the power of the array to blow up Chen and the other two. As for the consequences. Humph. Is Huiyan Mountain still afraid of Dao sect and the demon clan? Besides, the people of Dao sect probably don't have the courage to leave the east region. However, the next moment, Lai was completely stunned. He found that using the array talisman to detonate the array didn't work at all. What's going on? What's going on? He also showed an incredible expression on his face. Lai, I advise you not to waste your efforts. Want to detonate the formation? Impossible. How about? You still force your way through the formation. Looking at Lai, Chen said with a smile. You. Lai was so angry when he heard Chen's words. While Chen was teasing Lai, the crowd around the Huicheng city lord's mansion had gathered to watch the excitement. Everyone was stunned to see the mess in front of them. 1/3 of the buildings in the city lord's mansion had disappeared, and the remaining buildings were disappearing at a faster speed. There were space cracks everywhere. There were space turbulence everywhere. Many people in the city lord's mansion died because of this. What's going on? When seeing Lai and others standing in front of a formation, everyone was stunned. Wait. Aren't the 3 people in the living room covered by the formation Chen and his friends? Could it be? The scene in front of the city lord's mansion was caused by them. Thinking of this possibility, the people around stared at each other in astonishment. Horrible. It was really too horrible. Unconsciously, they also began to discuss in low voices. Hiss. It's really crazy. Unless I saw it with my own eyes, I doubt whether this is true. The city lord's palace of the first city under the Flame Mountain was actually destroyed. Chen is indeed the #1 madman in the world of immortality. After offending countless forces and powerful people in the eastern region, he offended the demons again, and in the blink of an eye, he offended the Flame Mountain to death. It's really unbelievable. Yes. What a madman. He is also a madman who will seek revenge. I guess it was Lai and the others who wanted to trap them and use the 3 of them in exchange for benefits. That angered Chen and the others. It's entirely possible. Who doesn't know that Lai is greedy? That makes sense. Now, there is something good to watch. I wonder if Chen can escape unscathed again this time. In Jinbao Pavilion, Duo was stunned for a moment after hearing the report from his subordinates. Mr. Yi is at odds with the Lord of Fire City. In fact, the city lord's palace has been destroyed. Thinking about it, he had an incredible feeling, tsk. As expected of Mr. Yi. It's really tough. Duo secretly sighed in surprise. Lord Pavilion Master. Do we want to help Mr. Yi? After all, he holds our Zenbage Supreme VIP card in his hand. In front of Duo, a gray-haired old man asked tentatively. No rush. If we really needed help, Mr. Yi would have sent a distress signal long ago, right? Duo waved his hand and said calmly. Even the most powerful person in the Xianxia stage can't do anything to Mr. Yi. I don't think Huolai can do anything to him. In my opinion, Huolai is simply trapping himself in greed this time. Afterwards, Duo continued, after saying that, he had a gloating expression on his face. Fire City Lord's mansion. Fiery. Hee. Why bother to provoke Mr. Yi?